Are you ready to open up and talk about all things business? I'm Crystal Vilkaitis, a curious entrepreneur who loves talking about business, especially over a glass of wine. I started Crystal Uncorked to share open and honest conversations about my journey and talk to other entrepreneurs about their experiences. We pull back the curtain and talk about the highs and the lows. Wine isn't required, but is recommended. This is Crystal Uncorked. I'm on one of my morning walks in my neighborhood, and I just felt very pulled to share a little more like personal story about kind of like how I got back to Colorado. During COVID and during the lockdowns, Dustin and I did a lot of walking. And I'll never forget, there was this one day that we were walking in our neighborhood, and I had been journaling. I always journal every morning. I journal. It will vary what I journal, but during this time I was journaling like the 10 things I want to achieve, like my 10 dreams, and just my gratitudes, and then just additional thoughts I'd have for the day. And one of those was I was just like really feeling pulled to go back to Colorado. And so because I'm originally from here, born and raised, and I was on the walk with Dustin, and I said, I really feel pulled to go home. And he was like, let's go. He had no questions. It was just like, okay. I think he also was just like really understanding. Like, Dustin's always been very understanding the importance of family. He lost both of his parents, as we've talked about in episode 3 of Crystal Uncorked. And, he's always encouraging me to spend time with my family. And so he said yes. And so then it was like, boom, okay, we started just putting it in motion. And I felt really pulled, like there was this unidentified thing pulling me, which is kind of clear now that I'm here. But it was family. I'm from here. I felt like I needed to be near my family. My grandma's here, my dad's here. My mom's in Iowa, so not close to her, but my whole dad's side. And growing up, almost every month, we would get together with our family, grandma, aunts, uncles, my cousins, mom, dad, for whoever's birthday it was that month, or for holidays. So it was almost like every single month I saw my family, and we would play games, board games, and my cousins and I would do these plays that we would perform. I'm sure some of you listening have done that, or your kids have done that for you. And it was just like really nice. I think as I got older and I moved away, I really was like, wow, I really appreciate that we did that. I don't know if families do that very often, especially with like extended family, with aunts, uncles, cousins. So we've always been really close. And then before moving, I also was very involved in the business scene in Colorado, in northern Colorado. And I have a lot of friends here and from here, and a lot of business entrepreneurial friends. And so coming back, it's just like, I still believe if there's a will, there's a way. You just make it happen. And I think that's part of why I'm like feeling pulled to share this a little bit, because if there was somebody who's listening to this, that you've got this pull that you're wanting to do something, listen to it. Listen to it, because we moved, I'm filming this in April, and we moved in October, so 6 months ago. And 3 weeks ago, my dad's wife found a lump in her breast, and last week she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And unfortunately, my dad's got pretty bad anxiety, and so this does not help that. And I live 9 minutes away from them. I'm able to help my dad. I'm able to go to appointments with Deb, his wife. And we've also been able to be there for my grandma, who's in her 80s and lives alone and is still working. She's a badass grandma. But she's in her 80s, and so needs some help and company too. And it's just like, from the depths of my soul, I am so grateful that I moved back and listened to that pull and like, look, figuring it all out. Like, do we sell our house? Do we rent out our house? Do we Airbnb it? That was a whole big thing I went through. I talked about it on the show. We figured it out. We ended up selling all of our stuff and just packed up a car and shipped 20 boxes, and that was it. We moved here. and Dustin found a place, and I just want to show like this neighborhood. If you're watching this podcast, I'm just sitting on a bench right now in the neighborhood, but this is the view. This is our reservoir that I live 4 minutes from, just walked over here. And Dustin and I also, hi, I don't know if you could see it very well in the video, but those are the Rocky Mountains. So we've got the Rocky Mountains, we've got that water tower. I hope you can hear the birds this morning. They're very noisy. They have a lot to say. And Dustin and I really need water. I actually worked with an astrologist, and she said both Dustin and I, based on our birth charts, we really need to be near water. So we were in California, but we never went to the ocean. But I look at this, I'm at this reservoir almost every day. I know Dustin is too, and it's just healing. It's amazing. So Dustin found this amazing property. It was everything was meant to be for us to be here. And now I understand why, right? Never could I have imagined that, what was going to happen with Deb. And I didn't know how bad my dad's anxiety was until I got here. And it's heartbreaking. I talk about this a little bit on the show, but if you know of anybody that struggles with anxiety, or if you do yourself, it's really scary. It can be debilitating. It fucking sucks, just to be honest. So this is a shorter episode today to just say, man, if you've got that pull to do something, do it. Don't get caught up in the logistics. How am I going to make it happen? Oh, I don't have the money. How am I going to find the time? Oh, what will people think? Oh, whatever it is, just realize I didn't wake up one day and say, hey, Dustin, I want to move to Colorado. And then that day we moved. It took us a year. It took us a year to find a house and get our shit in order and get everything going and move. So I hope you can hear these geese. So don't get caught up. We get caught up in the details. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? So get really clear on what you want. And for me, I knew I wanted to move to Colorado. The why was family. Obviously, I'm from here and I wanted a change, but I didn't know to what extent. And so trust that you don't always know why, but that you will figure it out. If you listen to those polls, and you just follow your heart and your gut. And, your mind can be really powerful and take over sometimes. So just be careful with what your mind has to say. But just really check in with your heart. Okay, a little inspiration from the Reservoir Bench this morning. And hopefully audio and all that worked out. I hope you're having a beautiful day. And as always, thank you for listening to the show. And I'll see you on the next See You. All right, let's keep this conversation going. Join me on Instagram. I'm at Crystal Uncorked. And I need to tell you, thank you so much for listening to this show. It truly means the world to me. If you're enjoying Crystal Uncorked, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Okay, I'll see you on the next See You. Cheers, friend.